Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Are You Ready for Your Inspection podcast? I hope you are all well. If you're listening to me in your ears and you're on a walk, enjoy. I hope it's not raining like it is with me at the moment. Yeah, if you are watching this on our YouTube channel, thank you very much. And remember to subscribe because we have a little bit of competition in the studio. Just saying, everyone loves a competition. Anyway, today I have got a guest that actually I don't even know how long I've known this guest for. No, I don't know either. But so if Jigsaw's been going 8 years. Yeah. So anyway, introduce yourself. Let's so that people don't think I'm talking to myself and going raving loony. Go on. Who are you?
Well, everybody knows you are raving loony anyway,
Yeah,
Vanessa, but we love you for
I
it.
know that's the problem. Yeah.
Hi, everyone. It's Glenn Denny here. I'm nursery manager. I'm a blogger. I do Circle Time the Early Years podcast. I'm basically just an all-round early years nerd.
You are yes, an early years nerd, and but you know what? You're in great company because you know
Hmm.
the best nerds. Yeah. So yeah, I don't actually know, Glenn, how long it is that I've known you because we got talking. I'm wondering whether we got talking before COVID, virtually, like messaging. I don't really know.
I
Probably.
think we did. We were sort of messaging prior to COVID, and the first time I met you in person was, I think it was Epop North. It was the
Oh,
last one. I
yeah, it
know,
was.
Epop North,
Yeah.
just before the world went bananas and everything
Yes.
closed down. Because yeah, that was when we first met in person. So yeah, it's been a good number of years now. At
Good
least
number
I'm
of
going to say
years.
about 5 years or so, if
Yeah,
not more.
something like that. Something like that. Yeah, if I remember rightly. My God, yeah, that was Epop Norse. God,
Love
I
that.
remember that traveling, bringing everything back. Oh my God. I said never
Don't I, I'm
again.
I'm currently planning this for Epop later this
Oh,
year.
Epop
Don't you worry.
self.
I've got
Yes.
genuinely, I have a room full of stuff that I'm bringing with me. And currently at my new work, because I've just changed jobs as well, at my new work, I have two tough trays sitting in a storage container, which I'm bringing with me as well.
Oh, amazing, amazing. So let's talk about, first of all, then, the topic of this week's podcast. So we're talking about, and which so happens to be your workshop at our Exploring the Power of Play festival, which, if you don't know, is September the 7th. I had to be reminded of that yesterday. My mum asked me what it was. I was like, I actually don't know. I can't remember. I can barely get through the week, really. So, yes, so Exploring the Power of Play Festival in Hampshire, September the 7th.
Seventh.
Yeah, in the field, basically looking outside the field and you'll get to see the studio. So that's good where we're doing this podcast. I know.
Oh, I'm actually quite excited about this.
Yeah, me too. I love EPOP. If I'm honest with you, we've been doing it for a number of years.
Mhm.
Absolutely love it. But boy, oh boy, it takes out of me.
Oh, yes.
Oh my God.
But you're
Yeah,
sensible. You have a holiday booked for
I
afterwards.
always do now. My husband always says, and it's got to be somewhere that has no internet.
Genius. Your husband is a genius.
Yeah. Well, we have owners and managers as well this in June. And yesterday, you normally go away for a week after that as well. We don't plan it really. We don't, it's just, and we either call it a drive and drop or a fly and flop. Those are the two types of holidays that we like. Okay, I know. So
Oh,
yesterday he
wow.
said to me, classic example, he said, how would you feel? This is the best present anyone could ever give me. Well, how would you feel if I just organised the holiday, don't tell you where we're going, but just take you, turn up on the day? Me,
Oh,
I'm in my element. So that's the deal this year.
can I marry him as well? I'm
Oh
fine
my
with that. Yeah.
God. I honestly, I think he expected me to go, no, 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 I want to be involved. But I was like, no, no, crack
Sounds like
on.
heaven. It really does.
I know. So drive and drop would mean we take the dogs. Fly and flop, obviously we don't. But I said I don't want to know anything about it until the actual day.
Mm,
It's going to be somewhere really dodgy, isn't it?
possibly. Possibly.
Yeah. And he didn't even ask for a budget either.
Oh,
I know. Although he's a bit more of a tight ass than I am, so it's going to be wherever. It's going to
Yeah,
be.
I'm married to one of those as
I
well.
know,
One of
exactly.
us needs to be.
I know, I know, I know. Anyway, so your subject is working with 2-year-olds at our EPOP festival,
Hmm.
which is amazing. And we can't wait to have you with us. So talk to me about why you're passionate about those pesky 2-year-olds.
So I knew you were going to call them pesky 2-year-olds at some point.
Ah, we have this
I would have been
tradition.
disappointed if you hadn't.
I know.
I genuinely don't know what it is, Vanessa. I just love 2-year-olds. I think it's because they don't, obviously with babies, they need lots of care. They need all that stimulation, need all that language. And I'm not saying 2-year-olds don't, but they need a little bit less. But they still need that adult nearby to scaffold, to learn. But you can watch them as, I think it's the bit with them, because they are so curious, that brain is ticking over
Oh,
and they want to experiment and they want to dig in and they literally want to pull things apart, which is fine. That's them working so much. There is so much going on in their minds about how they're learning, and it's all very physical and it's very hands-on, it's very tactile. And I just love watching that and getting involved where I'm allowed. That's the key bit for me, getting involved where I'm allowed, because I don't just jump in and do it for them. It's that bit where I will sit back and I'll put something in if it's needed, but I will put stuff out. And that's the bit I learned from working for so long doing this, that you don't have to overthink it. And that's one of the things I'm going to be teaching at EPOP is don't overthink it,
mm.
you know, because 2-year-olds, they do like to pull stuff apart, and you could spend hours like talking about tough trays earlier. I mean, you could spend hours, and I've seen practitioners do this, and you've probably seen practitioners do this, spending hours setting up this most
Pinterest,
beautiful tough
beautiful.
tray. The farm one is the one that always springs to mind, where they have, Weetabix fields and rice. Yeah, no, don't do that. Don't do that for a 2-year-old, you know.
Just almost give the 2-year-old a blank tough tray.
Hmm.
How great would that be?
I have
Let them
literally,
design it
yeah.
themselves.
I,
Yeah.
I mean, I've literally done things like I've chopped up some lemons and limes, thrown them on the tough tray. I've had different types of squeezers, like I've had lemon reamers, I've had like, the old fashioned ones. I've had all, and their hand, and I've just thrown that onto the tough tray and I've stepped back. That's all I need to do.
Yeah.
Because the 2-year-old will take that away and they will discover things. They will make those connections. They will discover that if they squeeze with their hands, the juice comes out and it smells really nice, and
Tastes
it's
lovely.
brilliant. It is. It's just brilliant. But it's being able to watch that. I mean, the other thing I've done as well is our good old friend shaving foam or crazy soap, whichever one you want to do. I know some people are a bit dodgy with shaving foam, but I'm
I
not.
have to
I'm
say
not one of those.
it's interesting. Shaving foam, yeah, I don't particularly like it. I don't know what. I think it's because I've seen so many children with shaving foam in their mouths, which isn't great taste, if I'm honest with
Mm.
you. Um, and then because the shaving foam's quite perfumed around their mouths, it brings out this red rash, and it's almost like when I was working in a nursery, we did do this, and one parent really complained because their child went home with all this red stuff that because it was like created, it was so strong for their face.
Hmm.
But I mean, there is a time and there is a place, and actually, if it's risk assessed, I'm really sorry, but I said the word. If it's
How
risk
dare
assessed and actually it's been, there's a staff member there who's actually modeling and watching
you?
modeling that, then that's the right thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean that's what I've done. Is I've had stuff nearby. So one of the things I'll do, like an idea for you, is I just squirt a few blobs of it onto the tough tray.
Yeah.
Um, and then first of all, I'll just encourage them to like, some of the 2-year-olds like, what is this? Like if they've never experienced it before, they will step back and go, we don't know what this. Others will be straight in head first
Yeah.
probably, but I will smooth it with my hands, and I'll use my hands and I'll make swirly patterns with my fingers, and then I might bring in, so you get those sand combs and things like that.
Yeah.
I'll bring those in, or I'll even bring paint brushes in and put the paint brushes in, or rollers to roll it along. So I'm using hands, I'm using fingers, I'm using tools. I'm encouraging them not to use their face,
Yeah.
which at some point they will do. But again, it's making sure that if you are going to use shaving foam, get the really, really sensitive one,
Yeah.
because it minimizes that. But if you can afford it, and I have done this in a previous setting, I've used the crazy soap because it's got more of a texture to it as well, but also it's slightly less harmful on
And
the
those
skin.
types of activities, I always think the 2-year-olds, I know they're quite often called pesky in my eyes, okay? And, I might be dissing them of where they are. I must be, someone out there's listening to this and going, that's really unfair of you, Vanessa. Okay, but that's in my opinion. Okay. But they are also called preschool apprentices.
Mm-hmm.
And the way I see it is when you're talking about all those activities with them, is that when you get to preschool, it's more of those holding those pencils. That's what you
Yeah.
want. But if you don't get
Mm-hmm.
this right on your shoulder, you're not going
Uh-huh.
to get this right. And that is something that I would say that practitioners do not know. They go straight
Mm-hmm.
in that they need them to hold a pencil or they need them to hold a tool. And it's not, you got to build these muscles up before this.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've done this in the past. So in one of my previous jobs, I was with 2-year-olds. That was my room. But I would take my time when I was doing the handovers at the end of the day, which is such a beautiful time. Like in the morning, it's chaos.
Yeah.
You literally just give me the information, right? Bye bye, go to work.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. And then at the end of the day, it's like we always made a point of having a relaxed time to hand over. And this is when I'd say, like we've been doing vertical painting one day. We'd pinned a sheet to the fence outside and we got the paints out and we were doing vertical painting. Or even I think there was a really sunny day and we had pots of water and we had the rollers and brushes out and we painted the walls.
Yeah.
Because it's great to do, environmentally friendly and completely reusable. But we were doing this and I was explaining to the parents that's what we were doing. We were
Yeah.
working those muscles in the shoulders. I'm for those that are watching on YouTube,
Watching on
you'll see what I'm
YouTube,
doing.
okay, but yeah, I
Yeah, for
get those.
anyone else in the podcast, like, you can just imagine us raising our arms. But that's what I was explaining I was doing. And again, with things like, I mean, okay, you get your malleables like Play-Doh and that, which, yes, the 2-year-olds do like to eat, particularly when I've done chocolate scented Play-Doh
Yeah.
and gingerbread Play-Doh, which is also one of my favorites. But it's fine, apart from the salt intake going up, it'll be fine. Just give them lots of water to drink. But with the malleables, but things like, when we're squashing and squeezing those lemons and limes and oranges that I was on about.
Freezing water paint
Yeah.
in
Mm-hmm.
a tube
The trigger ones as well are
yeah,
brilliant for that.
yeah. I don't even know what you use them for. Watering plants? What do you use them for?
Yeah,
How bad is
watering
that?
plants. No, you
Men
haven't
and
just made that up.
women.
No, watering plants. Or likewise, if you're in a nursery, it's spraying antibac spray all over the
Ah,
table.
spraying antibac. That's
There
it.
you
That's
go.
probably where I probably know it from. Watering plants is not the way. This one here behind me is fake.
I have one on my windowsill, which was actually given to me as a leaving present from a previous nursery, and it's still alive.
Oh, well done, you. Nobody likes
Genuinely, it's the only plant in the house that is still alive. Yeah, all our other plants are like yours. They're not real.
Yeah, no.
Safer that way. But
Exactly.
yeah, there's all those things that you can be doing with 2-year-olds that are just fun. They're just exploratory because they're curious. I mean, I've done things as well with them where junk shops and charity shops are my absolute go-to when you're working with this age group, because I bought things which I think I bought a broken clock or something one time.
Yeah.
And I just popped it down on the table and it literally I knew what was going to
Yeah.
happen. The whole thing got pulled apart, but that's fine. That's what I bought it for. That was my intention. But obviously what they did with it and what they were exploring from it is completely different. My initial intention is I just want them to explore it.
Yeah. I
And they
remember
did.
going to we have got an emporium down here which does, my husband will call it tut, that stuff that
Yes,
you
we have
grab
one here.
yeah, a tut shop. Yeah. And I did, because when I was doing my curiosity cases when I first started 8 years ago, is and oh my God, it was amazing. It was like, I can only say it was like an address book that you used for, or you used to
Was it
use.
the pop-up ones? And
Yes,
you
and you
zip the up to the letter. Oh my gosh, my parents have still got one.
no way.
Yes, they still have
You
one.
need to go and nick it and bring it to the nursery because that's
Too
what you
right.
need. Honestly, that was the best thing ever. I was mesmerized by it because inside it had things like, I don't know who had it. It was grey, but and metal, really quite heavy. And I don't, and inside were all the different airlines. I was like, oh my God, this person's really travelled because there's all these airlines like
Oh, wow.
TWA. Well, you don't get TWA anymore, and
No.
all of these airlines. And I was like, my God, this is just, and it just brought it all back with my nan. And,
Hmm.
that's what they used to do. And
Yeah.
but children don't know that, do they?
No.
The children don't know that unless you tell them. Am I
No, there
right?
was one time I brought in, this is more in preschool than it was with our 2-year-olds, but I brought in a typewriter one day. I managed to, somebody was selling one for £10 on Facebook.
Yeah.
And I was like, I need this typewriter. Got it. And I mean, it got absolutely hammered and everything else. It's £10. It's fine. But again, it's like you say, it's things that they've never seen before.
No,
So
I
they
know.
want to know what it does. And the
Yeah.
curiosity going on there is just magnificent.
And I always think as well is that if you don't, and I relay this to my son, and I'm glad my son doesn't, who's now 25, doesn't listen to the podcast. Actually, he'll be listening to this laughing. I know he will be. But my son, when he passed his driving test. Have I told you the story? Passed his
No.
driving test, I always give this story. So he passed his driving test, parked his car outside our house, and I needed to move it because it was parked in front of my car, and I was like, I need to move his car. And I went, mate, Harry, will you go and move your car for me? I need to get out of the drive. And he went, yeah, yeah, yeah. And typical, he was 17-year-old going, yeah, 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 like you do. I went, give me the keys, I'll move it, and then you can get on and do whatever, right? So I get in the car. I know you can't see this if you're listening on a podcast, but yeah, I was getting in the car and the steering wheel, I was like this. So my back was like this. And I was like, my son is 6 foot something. And I was like, how the friggin' heck does he look out of that windscreen? Right. So
Yeah.
I moved. And then when I got back, I said, mate, I went, how do you see out of your window? I honestly, gospel truth, this story. And he went, well, what do you mean? I went, well, I was like, literally, I couldn't even see. And I went, I had to. And he went, well, that's how you do it. I just sit up. And I went, I said, I was really chuckling to myself. He's going to kill me. My son is going to kill me. I went, did you know there's a little knob on the side of your button that moves the chair up like that? And he went, no, nobody's told me that. No. But not
No.
his driving instructor had told him that because he just got in the car with a seat like that.
Oh my God.
See? So
This is why we need curious children.
that's why, yeah. So that is a real classic example. If you don't tell a child something, they're going to end up like Harry.
Sorry, Harry.
Sorry, Harry. No, he won't be listening to this. Someone might listen to it and message him, but I doubt it. But yeah, but that is if you don't tell somebody, they're not going to know, are they? And that's
No.
the whole thing. If you don't give them those experiences to be able to explore, to be able to, think critically, all of those things, they're not going
Hmm.
to do it.
No.
And I may call them pesky, but that's because they are so curious and they are on the
Yeah.
go all of the time.
That
Yeah.
is it exactly. And that's why I love working with them because they just keep me going. Like literally when I was just working purely with 2-year-olds, my days would fly by. You're like, how did I get to the end of the day? What have I actually just
I
done?
know.
You got to the end of the day because they're so busy, busy, busy. I was doing things as well. Like, I mean, yes, we're talking about them pulling things apart and exploring and all that. But then there was also the opportunity when we would sit down for lunch, I'd encourage them to serve themselves
Yeah.
because again, at that age, like sometimes younger, but usually at that age as well, they're getting a bit more independent, a bit more no, and they're saying, I don't want to eat that, I won't eat that. And that was one of the ways I got round
Yeah.
them not wanting to eat is, well, you put whatever you want on your plate.
The
That's
only
it,
thing
no
I would
pressure.
say then is making sure that those, and I agree with you, that should be definitely being
Mhm.
done, but making sure that those utensils are
Oh
child.
my gosh, yes.
If you know
Yeah.
you've got a great big spoon like that, can you imagine serving yourself with that spoon? Can you imagine doing peas with it?
No,
I mean,
they would
come
be all
on.
over the table. No, we had little like just basic adult dessert spoons because they're
Yeah,
big enough for them to hold. We had proper tall-sided bowls as well, not too tall, but like a cereal bowl, and
yeah.
that worked perfectly for us. That's all we needed. But I even again, it was one of those things. It's like happened to be in my favorite junk shop around here, and I was like, I need those bowls in my life. I need them in my life. And I had to go and get them. I was like, I don't care. Again, early years nerd to the rescue. Here I go. I'm going to get that on a t-shirt. I'm going to get early
Yeah,
years
no,
nerd.
I think so. I think that could be the motto for EPOP. Early
Yes.
years nerd. I'm sure people would
Let's
absolutely
get badges. Let's get badges done.
that is early years nerd.
I'll leave that one with you.
Don't, because you'll know that will happen, and then
Oh yeah.
I'll be in trouble for something for dissing the early years sector and calling us all nerds.
Lovely.
We are in a
I'm,
special, we're
we're
special.
in our special bubble here.
We
We
are
are.
in our special bubble, yeah. Okay, so thank you so, so much. You've actually given me a little bit of inspiration, not only for a badges, but also to have a little bit more respect for those curious 2-year-olds and probably not call them as pesky as they should be. But you know, the reason if you're listening to this and you've got 2-year-olds that in your setting and you've got practitioners who come into you every day and go, oh my God, they are doing my head in, or they're everywhere, or well, actually, if they're everywhere and they're doing your head in, they're probably bored. So let's
Mm-hmm.
think about what you want to
100%.
do. Yeah, yeah. So if people who are listening to this want to follow you, tell me what your podcast is called again.
So it's Circle Time, the Early Years podcast. I have to give it the full title. So yeah, they can find us. We're online. We're on every podcast platform you can think of. We're on Twitter, X, whatever they want to call themselves these days. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're on LinkedIn as well. So we're
Okay.
all over the place.
All over the place. And so how often do you do your podcasts? Not in
So
competition with ours, are they?
no, you're all right. We do ours every fortnight. I've just come to the
Oh,
end of season 2 and I'm just preparing to record season 3. So we do a couple of seasons a year. So we don't, unlike yourself, which is brilliant, you have got the time and the energy, which is wonderful.
that's
I
why they're
haven't
only
got the
small
energy.
then. Yeah, but don't forget I have a team as well. And Anthony loves having an earphone in his ear with me just talking at him all of the time. So I'm keeping Anthony in a job doing these podcasts. That's what I'm
There you
doing.
go. We can't, like, in these uncertain times, we can't do better than that.
Exactly, exactly. Thank you so, so much for joining me. If you're listening to this, thank you very much. Remember, like, love, subscribe, send us a message, whatever way you want to contribute. Remember, sharing is caring and being kind is a free gift that we should be doing.
Mhm.
And I will speak to you next week. Take good care.